Well, there you are. Again, Charlie Greer Podcast. I do this every day. Today, record record executive deli tray story. Crazy. This is a pretty good one though. Before we do, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, the information in the description for Cash App. My handle is Charlie Greer Podcast, and there's information for Zelle. You got to use my email. Both are apps. So there's no links to go. Anywho's it. Let's do this. Record executive deli tray story. I've mentioned this in a earlier episode, but kind of just I thought it needs more attention. It's funny. So let's just start with the beginning. This was when I lived in Pasadena, so this was around probably like 8-10 years ago, maybe longer. I joined a dating app or dating site. I don't even remember the name of it. But yeah, I'll try one of these sites. People are telling me like, "Hey man, get on this site," So I did. You pull out your profile, you're matched with people or whatever the hell. So I started chatting with this girl. Hey, let's meet for like a drink. It's like, okay, let's meet. So I don't remember. She was like, look, I do like I don't even know what you call it. She was like the webmaster or something for this like private club. Like she was the behind the scene. Hey, anyway. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of heard of that club. Is it? But it's like I don't know. It's just what. It's like it's expensive to get in, but I'll get you in. Meet me outside of this address. She gave me an address. It was in the valley, so I drove to the valley, right, from Pasadena to the valley, and we met at like I don't know. I ran into traffic. It was So I'm out there, and I'm waiting outside. I'm waiting. And I thought I was in the wrong place. There's no like again, sometimes these LA clubs, it's like there's no sign, there was an address, like a numbered, but I thought, what in the hell have I been? But it was a busy street, people were coming and go. And I saw this woman walking down. She's like, hi, hey. She looked nothing like her pics. As I'm thinking to my truth, like, that's her? Like she used fake pics or something. As I'm thinking that, she's like, I know, I'm sorry I used these pics, They were older, she claimed. She had gained weight or whatever because of some kind of metabolism medication. Who knows? But I wasn't gonna. For one, I was curious about this club. I'd heard about it, but I didn't. She's got an in to it. She's gonna get me in, not to pay, but she can get like free people in. So I'm sorry. Yeah, I did. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of that's a lot. You're lying when you use fake. But she was digging me like, oh my god, yeah. So we go in there, and how this club operates is, you have to do a membership every time you go in. That's how they get around because it was some kind of weird club, B&D, S&M, who knows. So you have to give your ID. They give you a card, and you have like a daily membership anyway. But I had to pay. They said, do the paperwork. She was there. They're like, oh no, he's waive the fee. I think it was like $100. Waive the fee. And you have to go into these multiple rooms before you get into the club. And then you go into the club, and half of it's like, well, about a third of it's outside of this like patio. And then there's all these big room, whatever. And so immediately everybody's dressed in like leather and collars. And, this, I was the only one, like I was dressed like a normal person, so I like, I stuck out because I wasn't in some kind of gimp mask or, and it was nice outside. They had leather couches. There's palm trees. Matter of fact, they had a food and all this other stuff, and they had outdoor refrigerators that had like whatever you wanted to drink. There was coffee. There was, there wasn't booze. You had to bring your own booze, but I didn't bring any booze. Matter of fact, I don't think I was drinking at the time. So we sat in these leather couches. And I was like, it's kind of strange that you would want to meet here. She's like, well, I know everybody. Everybody was like kissing her ass. Like, oh, there's so-and-so. Because I guess because she's like the webmaster or whatever, an investor maybe. I don't even know. They're being really nice to her. And she was, I mean, again, like I wasn't interested. You know what I mean? And for one, it was just like when people are deceitful like that, I don't know what, right off the bat, you're going to be deceitful. How would you have, and how I should have known there were older pictures. I don't know. I wasn't used to these online. So, and I'm sure everybody who's tried online dating has a story like this. Uh, so we're talking and I'm meeting other people, and it actually is kind of, you know, she seems to be okay. She's got a, it wasn't like, she had a sense of humor. And I was asking her about this, club. It's a private club. You got to be a member yearly or be invited by someone and do like that member. They gave me a card, like a membership card with like a membership number. And, but it was just a day card. It was like, that's how they get through like the laws. Like somehow if you're a member, it's not, and I didn't see anybody like fornicating or anything, but there was room supposedly where they, they have the racks and this, that, and the other, and cages. I didn't swings, and I didn't go in there. So we're outside, and this guy comes in. I immediately know he's a record executive. I've never had a meeting with him, but I've seen him like in even my peripheral kind of, being in bands and stuff. I knew who he was, but I didn't know his name. I was like, that's, I go, wait a minute, that's that. She's like, oh, you want to stick around? I was like, because I was telling her, I was like, well, I can't stay long, And I'm like, I know it. She's like, yeah, I'm not going to say the record label. But yeah, he was the one ahead, like an executive. I actually seen him like Entertainment Tonight, da 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 da. What's he doing here? Then he comes in, and then behind him are like two leather mamas, like big biker looking. They're all in leather. They're big, and immediately they tell him strip. Now he's in a nice suit, and he's on the patio. Okay. And as they're making him strip, they pull out like these whips and these like things. And they're like, do it, And he's like, yes, mistress. Or we were laughing. And I go, what is this? She's like, oh, it's called like, he's into humiliation, degradation, whatever. That's his kink or something. Like, that's how he he didn't look like he'd have these two leather mamas. And she was like, yeah, he pays them. Like, shit. I guess you could stomach it. That's a pretty good job, Well, anywho, and everybody's talking. He can hear them saying, "Yeah, that's that executive." He was relishing in it, like he was happy that people were making fun of him, And I'm going to censor myself here, so they brought out this table, like it was folded, so they folded it out, almost like a chiropractic chair, table or something like that. But it was, you could lay on it, put a sheet over it. Got him naked, all right, and then laid him side up, Yeah, again, this is in Los Angeles. This is about 10 years ago. It's LA. In fact, this is nothing compared to what, and I was just a guest. I didn't know that this was gonna, what I'm saying? But then curiosity gets the best of you, and it was funny. Granted, it's kind of morbid, but and honestly, it was almost like in my mind revenge, because I had not dealt with him, but I dealt with his, people below him, these, other record label people who you grow to resent, to see him in this situation. Oh, in this club, there's no phones. They search you. They if you have a phone, they take it and you can get it back. So there wasn't. I guess he. So they put him on this table, and then here comes these other ladies, leather mistresses, whoever, with all this like deli stuff. And they proceed to turn him into a deli tray. Like, how you'd see like a deli, like with like cold cuts and pieces of cut cauliflower and broccoli, and then little carrots and ranch and this, that. And I was like, what is this? What am I looking at? And of course they're like, they weren't being too mean to him, like they were like just making fun of him, laughing, calling him a loser. This, yes, yeah. He was repeating, yes, yeah, he was, yeah. And quite honestly, after by the time it was done, it looked pretty. It was like, dang, shit, it looked like an art piece. You could see his face and his hands and his feet, but they had laid all this stuff, and they they're asking like, "Do you like what?" Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. He's thanking them. And then the leather mamas, the his handlers or whatever, turn around to all, because by then there's a crowd, and it happened right in front of these leather couches that we were sitting in. But the crowd got so close, we actually had to stand up, get out of the seats, and look at it. I was actually standing on something just to get a. uh, so they go dig in, and people are like, "What? Like you're gonna eat food?" And everybody knew. And then one of the managers of the club's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! You know, there's cross contamination. You can't," because they had rules or something like. Um, there was signs on the wall like condoms only if you're having sex. You know, this crazy sex club shit. They had like rules to this. You know, you can't like. I'm sure people break the rule, but they were trying to, and they're like, "No, man, you can't. People can't eat food off this dude." I remember them saying it's cross contamination. You should know better. They said we gave us permission. Like, yeah, I didn't know you were going to try to feed the public here with the deli meat. You know, pimento loaf and bologna, whatever it was. You know, roast beef and again like ranch dressing. Like they had these little like bowls of ranch dressing. You know, placed around. Again, it looked like an art piece. You know, it looked like it was really elaborate, and it took them a while to do it. So they're like, fine, you know, you know, and so they start proceeding to undo the deli tray, like put it back, you know, put in the plastic, and then the trays they had, and so they're doing that, and I'm asking her like, is this? She's like, oh, this is you know, this is mellow compared to, you know, I'm like, this is a thing then? Like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The deli tray thing. People, I've seen this before. Oh, it's no big deal. Who would think of this? Like the deli tray. Like, would you want to be a human deli tray? I guess so. So they proceed to put all the meats and this, that, and the other thing in back in their containers and on trays and stuff. And they're like, hey, all this will be in the kitchen if you want to make sandwiches. They were still trying to get people to eat this food that had been out for a while. They didn't even lay there for about a half hour, an hour with this food. I was there for a few hours. And so they were taken back to the kitchen, and there was a kitchen in the back. And these women there, they were dressed like in S&M gear, but they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. You can't bring this in. Again, there's cross-contamination. Call so-and-so. Here comes the security and the manager. He's like, look, I told you guys, we can't, people can't eat. And then there was an argument. You said we could. It's like, no, you can't, you know. There's he was trying to say like there's, you know, ordinances about so there's an argument, you know, and these women were big and leathered, and and the guy's like, fine, get out, like you're not banned, but you got to leave tonight, like I'm not dealing with this, you know better, blah blah blah. The dude is all oily and weird and got pieces of broccoli on him, and he puts his suit back on in front of everybody, like it's just laying there on a like a chair, like he puts all, you know, his tie, and they leave, and these girls are mad, you know. I've been a member here for over 10 years. Get out, you know. And people are like, yeah, you know, kind of like cheering. But I remember him saying, like, look, he pulled him aside, like, look, you're not banned, you know, just don't, you can't, you know what I mean? I got to follow rules. I don't own the owner would be mad or what. And again, in my mind, I'm relishing in this too, because I've seen this guy. Granted, I never did dealings with him, but you know, certain executives, you know, and then for him to do it to himself, like you hear about people having like weird, you know, people in the music industry, actors. It's true, they do. And I was like, they paid, and the girl was like, oh yeah, they probably made hundreds of dollars. Like she was saying, minimum $400 each to do this. Really? Like, oh yeah, he's a, you know, degradation or humiliation. There's like different kinks. You know, I didn't know any of this. Now, granted, I'm from Tennessee, and I lived in LA for a while. But you hear these stories, and again, it wasn't malicious. It was so silly. Like, who would actually And obviously he's the head of this record label. Wouldn't he have a mansion? Can't you just like be? And she was saying, oh, he's got a family. He's got this, that, and the other. And can't you find something better to do? Can't you, like, obviously you probably got a mansion with a pool, with butlers, or what? Can't you just like hang out and drink champagne by the pool and have a regular good time? No, you want to become a deli tray. Pardon me. Who would think of that? Like, it's how far down do you have to go to get to? And of course, this girl that I'd met for this date, again, by then we had both said, like, look, she was like, I'm sorry, this, that, and the other, you're cool. I'm like, yeah, you're cool. Don't worry about it. I wasn't interested in her, but she was actually funny and she was cool. Besides sending me, I guess she catfished me or something, that she's like, oh, you want it? Here comes another, because it was there was an area of the patio where like it was a performance kind of. They had all these things around. There might even have been like a little stage. Like, you're gonna want to watch this, and I'm like, well, what is it? She's like, it's fire play. I'm like, fire play. She's like, oh, it's safe. They only use alcohol, So they people, you could volunteer. People were like, anybody. This guy came up and he had like leather crossed. He was an older dude. He had like gray hair and a beard, and he had all this stuff. He looked like he was like in a heavy metal band or something. And they had put this X up, like this black leather covered like thing that they could, they had like cuffs on the top and at the bottom, it's kind of tilted a little bit. And people were like waiting in line for him to, and he had a name, like he was so-and-so, and then he had these sticks with like this cotton at the end, and he had rubbing alcohol, and he'd light it, and when he would rub it across them, it would just basically dissipate. You could see like a blue flame. As soon as he let, it would not, it wasn't burning them. It was like I'm sorry, it wasn't. There was like maybe a little red. There was, they liked it. And I was like, you know what? This is time for me to go. Like, because the sun still had. We got there early. I'd say we got there like 7, or it was starting to get dark. Starting to get, the night was falling. Or it had become night, like maybe 9. And again, these people were standing around. People were like eating in these outfits and like drinking and this, that, and the other, and smoking cigarettes and smoking weed and laughing and like, yeah, I'm gonna leave. She's like, well, that card only, is for tonight, so you can't come back with that card. And if you ever want to come back, she's like, you got my email. Oh yeah, fine. I never did. I did talk to her some more, and we ran into each other too a few times, like just out and about. Again, you go to clubs, if you go to like, the Dragonfly, or you go to one of these club, whatever the hell, you're going to see people, and they have different themed nights. And for a while I was going like, there's Monday night is so-and-so club, Wednesday night is so-and-so club. A lot of these things are, I try not to go on the weekends because it's so packed and crazy. So you run into, and I think the next time I saw her, she's like in a angel wing outfit. She like angel wing fur, whatever. Hey, we're gonna get you. Like, yeah, how you doing? What about that record executive, the Deli? She said, yeah, that was funny. You would think that someone would, this would get out. You would think that they, again, it's just all, everything's protected. Everything is, this powerful executive going into not the best part of the valley. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't like nice. It was down the road from, it was industrial, not industrial. Again, it looked like everything looks like a Tarantino movie by the time you get in the valley. So it was deeper in the valley than, there's nice places in the valley, Studio City and Burbank. And no, this was, like at the, not there. And I would have friends that would be like, hey, I heard about this club. And I'd be like, well, what? No, what? Hey, I know. And they're like, yeah, we got an invite. Because to get in there, you have to get an invite. Somebody has to like sponsor you or something, and you got to pay money. I mean, it was like $100 for me. And that was a slow night. This was like during the week. It might be more if there's some kind of, and it wasn't that big. The club had like, the patio, and there was these rooms. Again, I could see the door opening. It was just all red lights, and I could see like weird kind of cages in there. So one of them was like, uh, I don't even know there was theme rooms. Um, and my friends were like, yeah, we heard about that. No, I'm not gonna. I told you about that story. They're like, yeah, you should get. I got an invite from so and so. No, I'm not going. And then another time, an old friend of ours, like she was like, hey, I heard about this. I got to invite. No, no, and they couldn't believe I wasn't going to go. I'm like, man, I'm not. I've already been there once, And again, it's something. Again, yeah, you're living in LA. You hear about these stories. You go to, but that's okay. It's good in doses. It's funny because it's so silly. Again, it's like, where do you start with that behavior and then go, what? Like, you've got money. This guy obviously had money, had a good career, powerful. Why would you be? It's almost like a self-set, like you want to get caught, or you got some kind of inner insecurity. Who knows? Like, again, he was into being humiliated, and I forgot what that's called. There's a name for it. Crazy. That's what it's called. Crazy. Because I had been, believe me, I've been to different, you get invited to these mansion parties or other clubs. Then one, I remember went in and I actually had to pay like $60, and somehow I got invited to, and I was gonna bring my roommates and some friends because they're like, yeah, you can bring some people, they'll have to pay $60, and I almost did, and I'm glad I didn't, because when I went in, it was more sleazy, more naked people, and and I immediately left, and I felt like, and I tried to get my money back. I was like, "Hey, man, this isn't for me. Can I get my seat?" No, you've already paid. Go. And again, they gave me a little card. Again, it's how to get through. That's how they get through the laws or something. You become a member for the day or something like that. And I was like, "You're not going to give." You just saw me walk in. I literally was there for maybe 5 minutes. Like, yeah, that's policy. No refunds. So I left, and I was driving home like, what an idiot I am. Like, but again, and also I didn't fit in. You know what I mean? Like, as rock and roll's I had a leather jacket and all that. Nothing. There's this. You stick out. Like, nobody wants to talk to you. And I was standing around. It was packed. Like, dear Lord, what is the? Yeah, I left. $60. Bam, 5 minutes. Well, at the time I was doing okay. So you live and learn. I'm glad I didn't bring my friends. They'd probably thought, man, he's crazy. And I forgot who invited me. You get invited to a lot of stuff. I mean, sometimes it's just like a backyard party, a barbecue, or a house party, or a whatever, studio listening party. Who knows? Actually, I miss that. I've been back a year in the Midwest, and I do miss the social life that I had. About just a lot of times I wouldn't even go. Like, you'd be tired, or the drive's too far. But around here, there's nothing going on. I mean, granted, I've been to a few small like get-togethers, but there's not any excitement or meeting people or seeing, cool dressed people with stilts, and you wouldn't think you'd miss that, but like Halloween in Hollywood is amazing. Going into Halloween, they have a parade. It's just crazy. Talking to people. Yeah, we worked on this outfit all year long. Yeah, I bet. Look at you. Like, shit. I bet it did take a year to sew all that leather and weirdo. The good old days, I guess. Comment below. Have you been invited to a human deli tray party or performance, whatever it was? Probably not, but you never know. It's a strange, mysterious world. So who knows? You might have. There might be something like that in every bigger city. Well, I was in Houston one night, and I don't know. Maybe, perhaps. Let's leave it at perhaps. I have a curious mind about certain things, but then again, it's just not. Again, I don't know what about me, but I start like going through the details. Like I start critiquing the situation. Like, how did this start? Like, what would lead you to? That's just how I am. Maybe I'm the dumbass, but I have to think things through my mind, and I'm sure you can see it on my face. I'm probably what in the world? I again, it's Los Angeles. Every hour on the hour, every day. I'm sure there's stuff like that. Because I knew about like real estate agents. They're showing houses. Like somebody moves out of their mansion to buy another mansion, and they're selling it. And these real estate agents will have parties. And they're getting caught all the time doing that. I knew about that. I've been to those before. Not the weirdo one, but yeah, that's just what happens. I saw a story of Patton Oswalt, the comedian, and I've met him. He's not cool. Him and his wife got a real estate company to show them houses, and they show up, and there was a party going on. The other real estate agent would be like, and this is during the day, and it was kind of like a swinger party or something. So they were like, oh my God, like let's just leave. And they like the house. They're like, dang, like, so that just happens all the time. When you're younger, that when we first went to LA, of course you just want to go to mansion parties, and then the bigger ones and a lot of times they get shut down, and the cops show this, and you have to park on this weird hill road and walk. Everybody's walking up or walking back because the cops, helicopters, everyone leave. Crazy. Again, comment below. Have you? Perhaps. Again, I do this every day. Again, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, the information's in the description for Cash App. My handle is charliegreerpodcast. And for Zelle, it's my email. You can figure it out. I'd appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm ranting like a madman again. I love y'all. Be blessed. Cheers.